Just like, are you asking me to have sex in the school auditorium right now?
Rolling. Can you give me a clap, please?
I was 18 years old. It was the end of my senior year of high school. I had this friend, Dylan, and I'd been out of the closet as gay for 2 years. And he knew that, and he was, of course, totally respectful and supportive, and, you know, we'd talk about girls together and bond over that. And I had never been with a guy before, and I don't even know if I had had sex with a girl at that point, or been like completely naked with another person, ever. So one day, we were just kind of talking about it, and he was like, well, if you ever want to, you know who to call. He was joking though, you know, he wasn't one of those like lesbian hunting, like straight dude type of things. It wasn't like that at all. I was just sitting in my room like thinking about it, and I was just kind of like, you know, I think this is something that I want to experience before I go away to college. Dylan was the first guy that I thought of, and I texted him one day, would you maybe want to like actually try doing that sometime? And I don't know, it took him a while to respond, and I was like, oh God. He was really sweet about it. He said like, I don't want to disrespect you as a gay woman. Are you sure about this? But I've thought about it a lot, and I was already so comfortable with him. I wasn't worried about it being awkward. We're on board, what's the plan? I was just really nervous to do it at my house. I was like, I don't wanna do it in like a car. Like that's too like grungy. I don't wanna do it in a car. So I was in rehearsal one day for the last play of my senior year. Dylan was the sound guy for all the school productions. And he had texted me one day, you know, this is kind of like crazy and weird, but I have the auditorium free for the next 2 hours, which was on the other side of campus. And I was just kind of like, and what are you implying?
You didn't have any sort of idea during this.
I mean, I did. I was just like, are you asking me to have sex in the school auditorium right now? I had some time to kill, I guess, and I'd done all my homework. And I walked across the school campus, and my heart was pounding so hard. I was so nervous. Just walked into this like huge school auditorium. Nobody's there. And I look in the back, and there's Dylan sitting in the little sound box, and he just kind of waves to me. And so I didn't know where this was gonna take place. I was like, I mean, we're not gonna do it in like an auditorium chair. Like, and he was like, are you like cool to climb a ladder right now?
What a question.
He like opens this door with just this huge ladder going up like 50, 60 feet. And I was just like, Dylan. And he was like, it'll be fine. Like there's like space up there. So I start climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. And I was nervous too, so my hands were sweaty and was, of course, obviously afraid of falling. But then when we got to the top, it was really dark. He laid the blanket down, and we just sat facing each other. And he was just like, I'm afraid to kiss you. And I was just like, that's okay. Like, I'm afraid to have sex with you. And we like held each other's hands and just like leaned forward and started kissing. And he was a really good kisser, surprisingly. Clothes start coming off, and it was really, really hot up there. Like, we were both covered in sweat. And he has the condom, and he was just like, are you afraid of it hurting or anything? And I was like, yeah, I am. It actually didn't hurt, which I was really nervous about it hurting. I didn't really know like what I was feeling at first, I guess. It was just so weird and different. Literally a feeling that you've never felt before in your entire life. After like 40 seconds of kind of getting used to it, I was like, this feels pretty good actually. I'm pretty relaxed. And then he stopped. And I was like, you can keep going. And he was like, I finished. After like a minute. After all that buildup, it was just kind of like sort of anticlimactic, I guess. Nobody had ever made me finish at that point in my life anyways, so I didn't necessarily like expect to, but I definitely wish that it would have lasted a little longer and I could have like taken more time to enjoy myself, I guess. Afterwards, we just got our clothes back on and we got back to the drama room. He gave me a really big hug, and we just kind of looked at each other. He was just like, you're still one of my best friends. Nothing changed afterwards. It was never weird. full disclosure, Dylan and I, like a few years later, like slept together, and it was still really quick. And I guess at that point I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do that anymore. You know, you like look at yourself and like look at the facts, and you're a lesbian, you've never slept with a girl, but you've slept with this guy. That can be kind of confusing, you know, regardless of how sure you feel, like it doesn't really add up. And the first time I slept with a girl, all those doubts and everything just kind of went out the window. Once it wasn't awkward and quick and it was fun and awesome, I kind of had the realization like, okay, like you don't need to feel that way anymore. This is what sex is supposed to be for you as a person. It doesn't mean that you're not a lesbian. We're humans, and I think that we should be allowed to explore what being a human is.